the overlay there. Yeah. Welcome. There we are. I welcome everyone. Hello, Dafo. Hello, Ottoman Papyrus. Hello, Fortini. It's awesome. We got already 14 viewers. Man. This is going to be great. So we are having in orange here Mr. Master Pizza Dafo, player from Canada, also streamer on Twitch, by the way. And he is playing as the Mayans on Arabia, where his opponent, the German BavarianBarbarian in the blue corner, is playing as the Magyars. A fairly interesting matchup. And shall we start? Stargard.
Do you already want to say something about the map the players have?
We do that during the game. I think the Dark Age is long enough. Okay.
It's true. Alright.
We start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so Stargard, what do you say to the Civ matchup?
Well, we have the Meso-Civ Mayans versus the Cavalry Civilization Magyars. They both have pretty nice ratings unit for the post-Imperial Age, if it comes to the post-Imperial Age. Magyars might go for Scout Rush in the beginning, and Mayans probably for Field Aggression Archers. That's what I think.
Who would you favor in posting? Because as far as I see it, they differ quite a lot in posting.
Mayans needs the gold more than the Magyars do because of the Magyar Hussar.
There's truth in that, yeah. Yeah, there's truth in that. So, like in the Trash War, there probably are the Magyars quite a bit favored.
Yes, yeah.
The start is fairly similar, nobody screwing up in the beginning of the tournament, so everything is quite solid. The Mayans, obviously the Civ that has the longer lasting resources, so that usually gives them a big edge to actually have this gold just a little bit longer. The Magyars have the forging and the attack upgrades free, which makes them fairly devastating when it comes to the cavalry attacks, especially in the beginning of the respective age. And they also have quite good cavalry archers when they come to the special attack. Before that, they are like normal cavalry archers. And of course, they have the Magyar Hussar, which can deal splendidly with siege. On the other side, we got the Mayans with the famous Eldorado Eagle Warriors, Feared and the Plumed Archers, which are also really solid with their pierce armor and their foot speed. Really solid rating Civ, also lasting a good long while. Having maybe a little bit of downside in Castle Age when Magyars maybe have the showing. So let us see who is actually going forward. Until now, fairly standard opening. Everyone is at 11 villages. We see 4 at the lumber camp from the Mayan players. Let's talk a bit about the map and the resources, Stargard. What do you see in the Mayan and the Magyar map, and which one do you favor?
Dafo has honestly one of the best maps I've ever seen. The stone in the back, such a wallable map with the cliff in the back, the half-some wood lines, and 2 secured goals. Bavarian also has not a bad map to wall. It's actually also pretty good, but Dafo has the upper hand there, I guess.
I think it's fairly decent. Like, both have a decent map. I would also say that the Mayan is probably much more wallable. So we could even see, if Dafo realizes, we could even go maybe for a fast castle here. And BavarianBarbarian also doesn't have an unwallable map. Like, both have decent maps that they can deal with. Obviously, the Mayan have also a little bit of an advantage in the Dark Age with having just the Eagle Scout that is superior to the Dark Age Scout, as long as it's not Feudal Age. Just a tiny little edge that the Mayans have, which is one of the reasons why they're so popular on maps like Arabia. Ooh, Dafo, no, BavarianBarbarian nearly just killed sheep outside there, prevented it at the last second, and also reacted well when he saw with the villager that the Eagle Scout was near, prevented the Eagle from blocking his villager when luring the boar, and reacted with the sheep, so a solid reaction there.
And also he went for early loom to get the boar.
Ah, I didn't see that.
Quite interesting.
Quite interesting indeed, especially because he's no villager behind, so the question is, did the Mayan also go for Loom. Yes, they also went for Loom. Interesting choice
Yeah, they
there.
have the first.
Yeah.
With 4 villages, so they have to.
Procaster. Sorry. True down. True down.
Yeah, the Eagle Scout is in Dark Age better than the Cavalry Scout, so if you are not walled yet, it's not bad to go for early Loom. Also, the boar of his was behind the wood line, so it was a long away.
Yeah, I think Barbarian really with a solid reaction there to the Eagle Scout and to the potential danger of getting lamed there. Also having 3 on the wood speaks clearly for a Scout build order. Sending 2 just onto farms just diversifies your food eco long enough that you actually, even when your boar runs out or something runs out, you still have people working, which is probably a good idea. I heard it recently, Viper say that he likes to spread a little bit the food income. Like here, even when there's still sheep around, you go. Oh, he goes a little bit for. Oh no! Bavarian loses the scout. Oh, Dafo showing Colombian mercy to the German. That was. Yeah.
Okay, so
he let him
Dafo
go.
Starts his walls, got the barracks already up, and is on his way to feudal age with 22 villagers.
Yes,
What's
and
one more
Barbarian. Exactly, Barbarian going with the typical 21 pop up with the scout build order. Walling up a little bit nice. I'm not a big fan of this wall. If you see the where the relic is, the wall a bit to the north of his base, I think the wall there would have been much better.
Also get the stone inside the base.
Exactly. So I'm not such a big fan of that wall there, but I think he could have walled a lot greedier there, but well, he is secure. Like this first gold here is also not secured from archers, so you have to expect archers from the Mayans, and he is going for the tiny base, and maybe also limiting the wood that he needs to invest, and maybe wanting to try to go just a little bit more aggressive, just to have a little bit more of a more fluent build.
I don't quite understand the turtle here, to be honest. He has nice woodlines forward to wall in. I think you could have gone for a bigger base here.
I think you should have, even if you expect the archers, because so I mean, you didn't lose the scout. You could have scouted, and then he is not going man-at-arms or something like that. So I think you feel comfortable there. And honestly, it's not a huge wood investment. You can do it also later. And in the beginning, you save wood. So I see the reasoning behind it. If you just want to have like a fluent up, and if you look at the resources, he has 68 wood, and you want the wood in the beginning to just get your farms up. So there's certain reasoning, and also you have just less idle villager time. But for later, you should definitely expand that base because it is just too tight. What do we have with the Mayan build order?
The double archer ranges are now up, and he started already the producing of archers. And the wall just finished. Yeah. Actually, I would have gone for the forward palisade between both wood lines and not the cliff. Be less to wall and also more space.
Oh, Dafo, that's perfect. Oh, yes, Dafo, I love you, man. Thanks, I was searching for that a lot. Okay, so we got the scouts in. He's fully walled already, which is why the scouts have become quite out of favor in pro play, because walling has just become so meta that it is really hard to do something. But the Magyars don't just have the scouts, they also have the archers with the +2 line of sight, which can really make a difference. So the Magyars actually can go into the scout archer or scout skirmisher builder, which can be really effective against the expected archer and maybe some spear spam of the Mayans, who obviously have the cheaper archers. And for the cheaper archers, Dafo at the moment has 9 on gold. I think that's either a little bit much, or he plans to go... Does he plan to go 3 archer ranges? What do you think?
I'm pretty sure he sticks to 2, but you need 9 on gold to victories out of 2 archery ranges, plus get some gold for Castle Age.
Yeah, but Mayans have the cheaper archers.
That's true.
So you could abuse that, I think. So we see like slight inefficiencies, which are to be expected. Like we will see a lot more of those. That's actually the fun and why we organize this tournament, because like on this elo there's just so much possible, and it is so few stuff that you can already say, okay, he's 2 villages ahead. Oh my god, he won the game. So this is actually the really fun part. And here come the archers inside and threatening the wood line of Barbarian already, who needs to react in time to not lose anything there. And Dafo having killed 2 of 3 scouts on even the last scout. Like all the scouts of Barbarian are dead, who just adds an archery range right now. And I would argue that archery range comes a bit too late. He lacks a little bit of wood, but honestly his resources look very appealing to me. He is so short of actually getting up to the castle age. The only thing he needs is actually to hold with some skirmishers and just don't lose villagers. That's the only thing you gotta do. And those villagers and those archers basically idle their 2 farms or something like that. And well, the gold is an issue, but like, yeah, now the walling bites Barbarian a little bit, where he really doesn't want to be bitten. And bit, I think, is the right English word, but the right reaction is the skirmisher. Though not upgraded, you need to get the upgrade as soon as possible, at least with the defense. And well, Dafo being effective here with idling him on gold. And I think at the moment I still like Barbarian's position more. Because yes, there is a little bit of aggression. Yes, you took him off gold. But as long as you don't get in... Yeah. There is the second wave coming. And the +1 upgrade, attack upgrade for the skirmishers in, but you really need the +1 defense upgrade for them to really be effective. And I think actually like the reaction is correct, and I don't expect Dafo to be able to do a lot here. So the pressure, like he invested into 13 archers, and they didn't kill a single villager, and they didn't cause a lot of idle time. They caused a little bit of reaction, but I expect the Magier anyway to go probably for a combination of light cav and cavalry archer. So there's not so much damage done as you might want to have done. Oh, there was a hole! There was a hole! And Dafo didn't see. Or... Aye. And now he's Castle Age, getting the upgrades for the defense upgrade for the archer, getting the cavalry archers in already. A little bit of a delay with the villager production, but still fine. And being able to get back on gold if he wants to. Also having a lot of stone to actually produce a castle and secure those 2 gold, which is really the crucial spot of the blue base right there. So how would you react if you would be in Dafo's position right now? What is the play?
Well, I think he just did a play. He went up to castle, sent his archer specs to don't lose them against a few skirms and the cav archers, and just wait until he reaches castle for the crossbow upgrade.
Yes. How do you like the castle position of blue, honestly? What do you say to that?
It's defending nothing. The gold is still kind of protected by the town center and the skirmishers around. But
where would you have placed it?
Way more forward, probably the other gold or even the hill for...
Oh, okay. You would have gone to the hill, like where the relic is? That stone? Or where the wood is? Like, I think the idea is clear. The idea is clear. Protect the main gold. And also comes the second town center up. And there's the very, very bold villager of Dafo who really thinks like, I'm going to steal you this 5 gold. Those are mine. Forever. And who is probably in for a treat. But I would have said like probably just a little bit more forward to really protect those 2 gold. But I think also with the
Yes.
town center and the castle, it is all right.
Oh,
So
there's the town center going up now, and the castle is now protecting actually nothing. Gold
interesting
protected,
stat
but
for you. Dafo is ahead by 7 villagers at the moment.
yeah.
So there have been some issues, it seems, with the villager production of BavarianBarbarian, really putting him a lot behind now, just 6 villagers in eco. And having 5 archers and like 3 cav archers, I think some transitions there are just not as fluent as you wanted them to be. And he really lacks wood at the moment. Like he has 15 on farms, which is alright, but I wouldn't have added the last 2 farms, and you just need more wood at this stage. I don't even know whether he already has the bowsaw. So there are some things that just really can cost you the game. And I also don't know whether cavalry archers is actually the really great call against the archers. I would
I don't
say
think so.
I also don't think so. I would say to either get some siege out or some heavy cavalry. Especially because you have this forging advantage. And you have the stable already. You know, like this would have been a good idea. And probably like you have 8 skirms. Make them elite. Like it pays off a lot.
Yeah. Not elite skirms, just one shot to the crossbows. That's true.
Exactly.
Really ineffective.
Getting the +2 upgrade now for the defense of the range units. As the Mayan player, would you rather stay 1 TC or would you go full aggression forward? What do you say?
I would went for the full aggression, but Dafo is already on 2 town centers.
Yes.
Just wrong call in my eyes. Either go for the 3 town centers and boom, but you already have the army, so just build a 3rd archery range, what he's actually doing at the moment, and build a siege workshop and go full in.
Well, on the other side, I don't know whether he can know, but on the other side, like, he is ahead in military and economy. Like, he has more than double the military of BavarianBarbarian, and he has 10 more villages already. And he is matched in town centers with the... he's matched in town centers with his opponents, so in the end, it ended up being the right call. And I don't know whether he actually scouted. Let's look what he scouted.
He does not
yes.
know about the castle.
He doesn't know about the castle, but he knows my enemy is just on 2 TC.
Yep.
And he puts a castle a little bit in front of his base. Not just right into his face. And obviously having in the back idling the stone. And honestly, you can just shoot those skirmishers and go in and basically end the game there. Like, that is too cautious by Dafo here.
Also, the other 11 crossbows at the bottom of Bavarian space, they're just idling around there doing nothing for minutes.
Yeah. BavarianBarbarian is really struggling here for production. He still doesn't have elite skirmisher. He just goes skirmishers and is in the danger of actually getting killed by only archers here. The dream of going for cavalry archers, like, also when you look at his resource, he has 1,600 gold and 800 food. So he's really underwhelming when it comes to wood there. And I think that's actually the downfall, as it seems at the moment, why he's so far behind. If he fixes his wood eco, he is fine. He's in a fine spot. But like that, he doesn't have the production. Finally, he has the elite skirmisher to deal with a bunch of crossbows. But now being under the siege crossbow pressure, he's surely starting to feel the pressure. And also now you feel like when you have such a turtley base and you're being aggressed, it's really hard to get out on the map again. I would be interested. So now Dafo, BavarianBarbarian cleaning up on the right side, the little group of crossbows that was annoying in the second TC. And in the middle, breaking through the barracks with the 2 mangonels and a huge bulk of 30 crossbows that actually could threaten really his main TC, because there is nothing really that I see at the moment that BavarianBarbarian could be doing. And even Dafo being ahead in researching the Imperial Age, having clicked up 20 percentage points earlier than his blue opponent here at 32 minutes, means like Dafo just has an unchallenged game, it feels. He has walled himself up with the really nice map that he had, but he has walled himself up really nicely. He has the second town center in space in case any raidings should go on. He has the resources in the back and has a completely unchallenged economy until now.
Bavarian still not has the siege workshop. There it goes up, alright. You need the mangonel against those many archers. Only way to counter it. Skirmishes alone are just not enough anymore.
Yeah. And imagine now that BavarianBarbarian had like 2 knights being up and just could kill those 2 mangonels, who are, in my opinion, a tiny little bit misplaced. Especially the one that could have been dealt with. Now, bit late coming up the siege workshop, but yeah. This has been a big issue for BavarianBarbarian. Now having the wood count that he actually wants and needs, so now he should definitely at like 2 more archer ranges go heavy into the cavalry archer production, and now come in the Magyar Hussar dealing with the mangonels here very nicely, whereas the crossbows just going for a stroll, looking where actually the nice stone mines are, and just letting BavarianBarbarian clean up those villages and threaten the upcoming of the castle. And the castle here, I see the Lord's face, but I think the Lord is merciful today with Dafo, and actually he gets up 99. This castle very, very nicely. And there was not much missing. Like if BavarianBarbarian had like 2 more units, there would have been a dicey castle, definitely. And you can see, I think what is showing here, therefore, I think it's showing a little bit of nerves here. But having the 2 castles up in front here, being able to produce the traps, which BavarianBarbarian actually already does, and we just got 1 trap out where the second should have been in production already for Dafo, who does like also the wood economy, who has a lot in wood, in food, which he cannot use at the moment because he lacks every other resource. Now taking slowly into the Eagle Warrior with the defense and offense upgrades and getting the castle shot here, whereas he can't challenge the castle of Dafo right now. Dafo just having the superior trap count and also being closer with the villager reproduction villages here, so to be able to repair his traps is, I think, an advantageous position for Mr. BavarianBarbarian here, just in this little trap war. We also have the second castle up now with the resources that BavarianBarbarian has. He still doesn't have a good eco balance. He still does have 1,600 gold. He still doesn't have a third archer range, and there is no cavalry archer production coming. It's just the skirmisher, which I think is the wrong decision if you're just floating so much gold. Like, you either have to use a market, or you have to go into the more powerful unit, which probably there would be either heavy cavalry or maybe even rams against the archer trap combination. You want like onagers. There's a huge, oh, that's a big bada boom indeed. That's a big bada boom. BavarianBarbarian he's not out of this. He is not out of this yet. He doesn't give himself lost. Also, Dafo struggling with the villager production, just having 78 while actually having an unchallenged eco. And letting the mangonel kill his traps there makes a critical stop to his aggression there. No castle, no TC being lost, and BavarianBarbarian is here to play. So, he is struggling still with the constant production, and he really just should take like 4 or 5 of the villages he has on gold and just put them to wood and refresh his lumber camps. And it's so hard for him to actually find good wood lines right now. He is turtling himself so much into this map that I think, yeah, Dafo is just so much more comfortable. Even having a comfortability castle at home where probably a TC would have done it. Just for security measures. You know, when you got it, you got it. You can just spread it around. Throwing the $50 in the club there.
It's going up. Eagle Warriors are incoming.
Exactly. Now the Eagle
Going for
Warriors.
El Dorado, I guess, and go for the raids.
Eagle Warriors are incoming, yes. Sorry.
It's the perfect counter against the skirmishers, Mangonel, and Siege Shaw now.
Yeah.
With El Dorado, you can even get a Town Center Drone.
Exactly. Like it was the perfect switch, and the Elite Eagle Warrior kills everything the Barbarian has, and that should actually be the GG. This should be the end of what Mr. Barbarian in the first game should be able to do here, honestly. Just get the Arbalest to the wood line, and then there is no wood anymore that can be done. There's no gold anymore that can be taken by Barbarian. And I think, yeah, there comes the GG, and rightfully so, as we all agree.
GG. So what do you think were the main issues Bavarian in this game?
The main issue was eco balance and production buildings. Like, there was this super hard lack of wood all game long, and just too much on gold. And I also don't agree necessarily with in general going for Cav Archers there against the Mayan player. I would think that actually going a combination of siege and heavy cavalry could actually have been much more advantageous there against the Mayan player. And I also think like the base design was one of the big issues right there.
Yep, totally agree with you there. I still don't really get the two archer ranges. Would have gone for stables and earlier siege, and also turtling and eco management really hurt Bavarian here.
Yeah, but to give credit to Barbarian, he held on very nicely.
That's true.
He, if the Eagle switch wouldn't have come in that moment, I think there would have been still a chance. And he was defending against the castle and trap onslaught fairly good. He was going well with the skirmishers then. And what he also did... no problem, you're very welcome, Dafo. So, and I think also, like, the map favored Dafo also. So I want to just give credit also to Barbarian, that he did fairly well. And I think that actually Barbarian, if he just has a little bit of a smoother build, maybe something he is even more familiar with, then it should probably go a little bit better. And I also think just Dafo reacted really nicely to the probable incoming scout rush here with the full wall where he was really secure. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, there is my beautiful face. This was the 1-0. This was the 1-0 for Dafo. We have best of threes going on in the quarterfinals, so we will see how the next game goes. And while I bring this on, let us check the stats first. So what we see here is Dafo obviously killed more units. We also see that his economy was better, which is obviously due to the pressure that was put on Barbarian's base. Technology-wise, we saw the Barbarian was early in Castle Age, which I think he didn't use all too proper. The Imperial Age time was fairly much the same, and society-wise, Dafo was ahead. So nothing too extreme here. But what you can see is the feudal aggression in the end paid off, because in the end he did the right thing. He kept his archer numbers alive, went crossbow, and did damage with the crossbows as well. Oh, Barbarian, bring that actually up. Barbarian is 200 elo higher, Dafo says, than he actually is. Barbarian is 1400 elo, so he is really a decent player. So we are not talking about somebody that does not play. Exactly, Dafo is 1232 elo, so that was definitely an uphill battle. Well done, Dafo. Well done.
I think Bavarian actually has the highest elo of all players in the tournament.
So Dafo having a really rough matchup here and doing very, very well, especially under the pressure situation of being in a tournament and knowing that this will be cast. Chuck Rambo AoE, thanks for the follow, my man. Welcome to the stream. So now we are going to return to replays. And guys, I thank you very much for staying here if you didn't hit the follow button. And remember that if a donation should be passed into this, this will go into the prize pool immediately. I hope you're enjoying the show. And we are going to go immediately actually into the second game here. So I'm at 2 seconds. And it is obviously Bavarian. It's BavarianBarbarian's home map, and he decided for Arena. Arena being the home map of BavarianBarbarian, and we have the matchups of Dafo going as the Celts against a civilization that we really don't see very often. So BavarianBarbarian goes with the Burmese. Let's present the civilizations just a little bit again. The Celts go being an infantry and siege civilization. Infantry moves surprisingly fast. The lumberjacks work 15% faster. Siege weapons fire 20% faster. Automa Papyrus, thanks for the follow, my man. The sheep is not converted if one Celt unit's light of sight. They have the famous Vote Raider and can make passes in towers, fire faster, and you have the famous Furo Celtica with the siege workshops units being plus 40% HP, and the siege workshops also work 20% faster. So really, it's very, very solid siege civ, just lacking the bombard cannons when it comes to the crucial techs there. On the other side, we got the Burmese, a very interesting civilization that is a little bit different than the usual go-to civilizations that we probably see. It is a monk and elephant civilization. The lumber camp upgrades come for free, which is a nice eco boost that probably gets underestimated quite a little bit. The infantry have +1 attack per age, so their infantry packs a punch definitely, and actually can keep up with the, or even better than the Celt infantry if they come into fighting position. And the Celt infantry doesn't just run circles around them. The monastery attacks cost -50%, so the monk siege rush would be an option there, especially because if you should ever get to Manipur cavalry, cavalry and Aramba have +6 attack versus buildings, so if you once get up those Arambais with +6 attack versus buildings, you erase those TCs no matter what. Problem with those Burmese is usually a little bit the transition, but they are actually a powerhouse, and when they one time get to their composition, they can be surprisingly devastating. So, are we ready to start, Stargott?
Yes, we are.
I'm in 2 seconds, and we start in 2, 3, 1, and go. So we should see a fast castle here. I think we did the mistake from a casting viewpoint now to actually not do the civilization talk when we have the fast castling going on, because the beginning of Arena usually is not too interesting. So Stargott, take it away with the map talk, please.
Well, both of them have a pretty nice back base there with secured gold. For a town center in Castle Age, which could be pretty nice to boom in peace there. I'm pretty sure we will see fast castle here, no feudal aggression, and also no fast imperial age.
Yes.
And besides that, it's a pretty standard arena map. Nothing special there.
Hey Robert, welcome to the chat. Thanks for the follow. And yes, we also need some cheer people for BavarianBarbarian, who did very well, had a rough first game, but is a very decent player that I'm looking forward to seeing more from in this tournament. And I really hope it comes to a third match here. So I cheer at the moment for BavarianBarbarian, not so much because of a favor of the guy, but more for a favor of having more matches to actually cast. So this here is an unfortunate cheap for Dafo right there. And despite of that, it is usual to delete the useless walls. You just have more space for buildings there. and also the second wall the Dafo probably will delete, and the Burmese player Bavarian go in for the same issue. Having a nice backbase there, having a nice gold, having some nice space in the back to actually resist if some early aggression should come on from Dafo, if he should decide to put the castle forward and pressure the Burmese. So having a possibility of going for a really nice boom and resist for a long time with just having this one gold forward that maybe, and the one stone, but having one stone in the back and two golds fairly secure as well as the berries and a lot of space. On the other side, Dafo also having a really nice map. Having the two stone forward is not ideal if you should get castle dropped or something like that, or smushed. Smushed being the shortage for siege monk pushed, which is a powerful push that can snowball easily out of control one time. You do not deal with it accordingly. And until now, we see that BavarianBarbarian, already being one villager ahead, actually can make a difference there. And also hitting the scout of Dafo first, so that Dafo moves out with the villager to actually deal some counter damage to the scout. And the scout just being annoying, just causing the idle time here, is actually really, really solid. And I think this scout matchup, he would still win. And now is the time when he lost it. But he caused a little bit of idle time, and it doesn't really matter too much. And he even caused a lot of idle time. I know Dafo gone really far out of the villager here. So the psychology play here in the Dafo, in the Dark Age, with just being annoying to the enemy is really important. Yeah. And now at home, maybe also a big damage that those villagers in BavarianBarbarian's TC StarCard were actually idle quite a lot, probably because maybe a little bit of over micro hurting him more than it did him good. So, what do you say to the relic position and the map, the neutral map, like neutral goals and the relic positions? Do you think there's a favor? And what are your predictions? What is going to get, who's going to get what here?
I think it's pretty fair with the relics, but Bavarian's obviously Burmese, so he knows where the relics are. He can immediately go for them in Castle Age, don't even have to scout them. But before that, still Dafo now gets the, he pushes the deer, and Bavarian don't get for those, so Dafo has some extra food there.
Yes. Sorry for eating the chocobo. Starker, take it away a bit, please, for a second.
Alright, still fast castle build order going on, nothing special at the moment, forced just to run out, and Dafo has a small inefficiency before with the sheepers because of the scout battle going on, didn't pay too much attention there.
I have a question.
Yes,
BavarianBarbarian has just 2 on berries. Why do you think that is?
Because Hunt and Boar is just faster, and as soon as Hunt and Boar runs out, I hope at least that he sends a few more to that.
Probably, and he just got now the 14th on food, so he was a bit later with getting 14 on food and added earlier some on wood, which is really interesting. And I don't really know what it should indicate. Maybe that he wants to have a little bit more wood when it comes to Castle Age already, but I don't know whether it was intentional or not. So I'm wondering whether it is actually that he has a plan behind this, or that it was maybe just a little mistake. I also think so. It's actually an interesting choice to just send not so many on the berries before, because they are not really, how do you say in English? Decreeing? I don't know, like rotting, and the rest is rotting, so the decision there is understandable. And both having are having quite a similar time to the feudal age, but BavarianBarbarian has 1 villager more and is faster to the feudal age, so better build order there for BavarianBarbarian, definitely. And that is also showing, like, on your home map, it's just also a lot about that comfortability. Stargod, tell us a bit. You played recently, not in Age of Empires, but you played recently a tournament in another computer game. Tell us a little bit about the tournament mindset and how it can affect your gameplay, maybe. How did you experience that?
That's actually a good question. So, the first rounds, like the first 10 minutes or so, you are way more stressed. You play not the 100% you would normally play. But after that, it's kind of normal. So, no pressure going on at this moment. Not before the final round, at least. But I think the first minutes of the game are always the most stressful.
What do you think, actually, like, let's go into the mindset of BavarianBarbarian here. He lost the first match. He's now at his home, but he lost the first match. What do you think is the biggest danger, or what should BavarianBarbarian do right now to increase his chances to actually come back from the 1-0 loss?
Well, of course, what you shouldn't do is never tilt. That's the worst thing you can do. You will just play worse than the round before.
Yeah.
Probably just ignore the last round. Go ahead with 100%, and now you know your enemy, at least partly from the last round. You know what he did, so go ahead with those information.
BavarianBarbarian going now for Loom. Interesting choice. So I think that's a conscious choice. He wants to get out of villages. Also, the 6 villages on stone indicate that. And Dafo having 4 on stone means that you will not be able to actually build a castle in Castle Age. And BavarianBarbarian losing his advantage there when it comes to the timing of the ages. Probably a slight issue with the build order right there. But still being fine and going for the fletching. We are going to see a Rambai, definitely. And he has 10 people on food, and he also doesn't need many more, because those Rambai are just wood and gold. On the other side, the Cats player, what do you think he's going for, Dafo?
He already has 6 on stone, so he will definitely go for the castle.
Oh, Dafo says fletching doesn't affect a Rambai.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, then my mistake. Thanks for the advice there. I was thinking that they count as cavalry archers, so they would be affected. But he has got fletching, and he will do a castle. So, why fletching?
I think actually they are cavalry archers. Let me take a look. Find out.
Just take a look. Drop the knowledge, dear Mr. Starkart. We have now the Castle Age reached, and now the battle also for the relics might just begin. But Mr. Dafo deciding actually to go for the Siege Workshop, and he goes also for the TC, it seems, placing it behind between the gold and the wood, so securing the resources that he needs for going heavily into siege, while BavarianBarbarian goes forward with the castle. He wants to castle drop and nothing else indeed there. And afterwards, I think also being, this is interesting, if Dafo doesn't have, yes, this is perfect by BavarianBarbarian. BavarianBarbarian has the castle just out of range of sight for the walls. So if you expect a Rambai with a siege monk push, you probably want to just go to Town Watch to actually see things like that and to be able to react. But on the other hand, Dafo already preemptively walled quite nicely there and suspected that it might be that the aggression comes from this side, and walled just at the right place where also now the aggression from BavarianBarbarian comes in. He gets it in the right place to deny 1 stone and to be able to get the 1 stone there. The question is, wouldn't it have been more effective to go from the other side? But probably Dafo, counting on that Dafo would have been able to react with that. Dafo putting a castle himself in his own base. I don't know whether I'm a big fan of the position there, although I have to say he's walled over here. And this entrance that is fairly open is now protected by the castle. So despite of the stone here, that will be challenged by if the smush should come in. Despite of that, you would do fairly well. And the castle killing the first villager, and now Dafo knows that the castle is up, and that probably a Rambai just is the play. And the Rambai are coming out. So Starkart, you took a look.
Yes, they are affected by the armor, but not fletching. Also,
Not by the fletching.
With the bloodlines and husbandry.
Then maybe the fletching is just for the castle. That would be an interesting tech, but very look at. And we also get the monks out, so the castle is not just about the immediate control of the stones, which is also nice to just get into your enemy's head. On the other side, it also just gives you so much map control to just collect those relics to prepare for the late imp to post Imperial game. Those are Rambai are an interesting unit. How much experience do you have with them, Starkart?
A month ago in a team game, they just destroyed me. 5 of them destroyed my whole town center. I couldn't do anything. It was the first time I played against Burmese, I think, back then. Yeah. So, with the upgrade in Imperial Age, they are shredding the units, and you can't really do anything against that.
Exactly,
in
one
Castle
time.
Age, they aren't that good.
Yes,
so
they are
of course
very inaccurate.
Bad against building, but can still counter them.
Quite unfortunate destroying of the wall here by Mr. Barbarian. Just destroyed it, and the tower, like the forest, is still in the way. And now the counter siege comes out, which is actually an interesting reaction. Scorpions and the Mangonel, which can be the right call here because the Rambai are just so inaccurate that you might. Oh no, it's open! It's open! Dafo, no, what you doing? Oh my god. This is, yeah. So this is now good. It is a choke. You have the 2 scorpions there. The Rambai are expensive. You don't want to lose them. We do want to mess them up. You have to get close for them to actually be effective and accurate, which they can't get because this is just such a choke that the scorpions are actually working quite perfect. So probably what you want here is to find a way inside, to destroy the house, and to find a way inside with 2 petards to get onto open field and to just destroy the eco a little bit. But I have to say, Dafo doing a really nice job with the 3 town centers, protecting his eco very well. Also,
producing out of 2 siege workshops. It's of course the best call you can go for as kills. So it's a pretty good defense step against Dafo.
I think so too. The defense with the Scorpion Masterpiece and maybe later some Vote Raiders is really solid. Exactly. You getting castle dropped with the 2nd castle. And if we look at the villager count, they are really having a race. Well, how do you say that? Like head-to-head race? Is it an English expression that you can use? Not quite sure.
I think so, yes.
And trying to get in this way, I think you should have gone for 2 petards. And also, you should have cut the tree the moment he didn't get inside and just did it with actually the palisade wall trick, like wood hopping. But he gets all 5 relics. So Barbarian really in a very solid position. And Dafo feeling a little bit of pressure here, but not at the moment too much still. But being denied his 2 stones is really a lot. So you cannot go more castles. And once you should lose this, you don't have bombard cannons and you don't have traps anymore. So you need to go siege rams in order to actually get rid of those castles, which is a really tricky position to be in. Neck and neck. Thank you very much, Shuka. So, what do you say? How would you progress now as the Burmese, and how would you go as the Celts, Starkart?
I would continue pressure the Celts. As soon as he is through now, he can go for some elephants or some rams to get the castle down and just raid in.
Oh no! Do you see what's happened? Do you see what's happened? There is the relic victory, man. Pros creating a tournament game. Very nice, very nice. So in 190 years it's over. No, obviously not. But what I find interesting, actually I think that's the right response here from the Burmese to the Siege Workshop defense, is he got 2 stables up, and it is a 2 TC against 3 TC all in from the Burmese guy, and now he is 10 villages behind. So there is Boom getting in behind. The question is, does Dafo know how to react to this accordingly to actually get out of this chokehold, to actually use his superior economy? He has decent resources with having 27 on wood, 29 on food, and 11 on gold. But I just don't know whether the composition he got there with having like 3 rams is actually what he wants there. But it could work. It could work, but it is tricky, especially against the Burmese with their monks that are having everything and cheaper. So one time you get to this composition where you can just, well, convert the rams or onages, whatever comes your way, it becomes so tricky for the Celts. So now you see the masterpiece and the potential of Burmese there. The monks, oh no. But now the Scorpions really shine. When they kill all, they basically kill all the Arambai. And you really want to get up with the numbers on the Arambai. But I think the switch has been coming in anyway. And Blue being up to Imperial Age nearly, with having 9 knights being constantly in production of knights with the defense upgrades coming in, is really devastating. He is up in Imperial Age. He can get into the trap one. That would have been probably my answer too. You need to get to Imperial Age. You have this stall of having 2 casters against 1 casters. You want the traps out. You want to be able to kill those disc-casts. You want to be able to kill those forward siege workshops, because you have to get rid of the space that the Celts have to actually have some production buildings in the back. And on Arena, space is something that is an undervalued resource, and that can really choke your enemy if he just doesn't have space to build any more production buildings to actually use the resources, even if he has superior economy there.
So the first traps are coming out, and now he just has to protect them.
Exactly, and he can protect them easily with the knights that he has. They have already +1, +2. He gets the bloodlines, he gets the oh god, English, the conscription upgrade, and the 2 traps are killing the castle. And because you cannot reach the stone anymore, this castle is going down, and so there are no traps. And he's still not an Imperi, he doesn't have siege rams, and against this composition you really need the siege ram pike combination, and the pikes are strong from the Celts. So you cannot rule them out yet, but you have to get production, and a lot of production, up. Barbarian floating a lot of wood, but Dafo being in the having the problem of being housed heavily now, and also just lacking the right resources. You want more wood, my friend, and you definitely want more production buildings. And he is being heavily under pressure, losing 2 of his 3 siege workshops, and just being down to 1 siege workshop, and the Scorpions, desperation coming out now. And the Scorpions trying to go against the Arambai, trying to go against the traps here. And I don't see it. I just don't see, because those Arambai are just killing your siege. And if you lose this siege, you got nothing left, my friend. So this looks really rough, and I think we are on our way to actually see that BavarianBarbarian has a really solid choice of his home map here, because he is getting close. He knows how to use those Arambai, man. And he goes into the gold that whereas he still has 2 goals in the back, and this is now the last attempt with the cap drums. He cannot wait for the siege drums. He feels so pressured that he cannot wait, and now he probably sees this is going to be really, really bad against the Cavalier. He has the Halberdier that can really help, but is it just enough also against the casters that can protect the traps, and is it enough against just the ongoing onslaught of the Arambai? And it doesn't look like the halbs are falling, the rams are falling, the cap drums are down, and the traps without mercy making their way into the eco. The TC is down, the farming eco is down, and this is. This must be GG by Dafo here. He has fought valiantly.
Disrespect castle.
And now the disrespect castle, the get out of my game castle. And securing here from this point that Dafo knows this is definitely over. GG, well played. BavarianBarbarian giving us a third game, and he honestly showed where his elo comes from. He had a very, very solid performance here. It was just very straightforward, staying on the 2TC, knowing what he is doing, and though being behind in eco, just having the position, just having the military, just having the composition to deal with the Celts here, which he did really, really well. What do you say about this game, Stargard?
Both players played really well. I think Dafo went for a good defense there for sure, but he can't just go siege. He needs to go for a second unit to protect the siege. But the pressure was just too high. 2 castles to run by the siege, the cavaliers. There was no way for Dafo to protect, even though he did a very good job.
Yes. I think it was really also the fact that he lost both his stone, and on the same time he didn't have Town Watch. I think Town Watch was a really crucial tech here. If he would have had Town Watch and actually built a castle there, a counter castle which he had the resources for, in my opinion, then I think that he still stood a chance, because then he could have protected his stone far better. And I think this castle with 8+2 could reach all of his stones, so he could have probably chopped a lot there. And if he would have been able with the castle to defend from the Arambai, that would have been probably a very good idea. To also just have the castle defense and then being able to get some defense upgrades for the building and just hold on, because you have to get to this Imperial Age. And the first who gets to the Imperial Age with several castles is just at such an advantage there. So, we got a third game. I love it. I think this first series is already really good, and it shows already that we have organized a fairly good tournament there. Let's look at the military numbers. So we got a 2-to-1 KD. We have 22 buildings raised against non-buildings raised, 30-24 army, and we had the better food and wood eco, but we had the better stone and gold eco by quite a bit, actually, by BavarianBarbarian, and we will see that a lot of it is actually to the relic count, which made up the biggest point of this gold league with 1,700 relic gold. Just came into it, and it's just basically 5 to 6 extra villagers that work on gold constantly with maximum efficiency right there. And I think that the siege rams, if he would have been able to collect more siege rams with more pikes, there would have been actually a decent call there, but it was just not enough quite there yet. And if you add in the end like either some scorpions or some skirmishes for the Arambai, there probably could have been the composition to do it. And technology wise, we don't have huge differences, and I think we saw the main thing is that the timeline tells a story that it was equal, because like Dafo had the better eco, BavarianBarbarian had the better aggression, but in the end BavarianBarbarian had the great plan, and he also knew why this is his home map. To be fair, Arena being a map that has an entirely different meta, in my opinion, and plays itself really different to Arabia. So Dafo can come back now. He still has the advantage for the last game, because it is his home map. And let's see what he actually chose. So those players now, I think now both are very nervous. I think there's like a slight favor for Dafo here, because it is his home map. But on the other hand, it's a slight favor for BavarianBarbarian, because he knows, well, okay, the first game I screwed maybe up, but I'm elo wise, I'm higher. I got this in me, and I just got into the groove, you know, like maybe it was first game was maybe the first game of the day, and maybe the second game, you know, you you shake the stuff off, and so now you feel like, okay, maybe I got this. So I think mentality-wise, at the moment, Dafo having more of the uphill battle than actually Barbarian. The third map is Golden Pit, and Dafo decided there to go Britons on Golden Pit versus Barbarian, who decided to actually go for Ethiopians. I'm in the game, and Randy said and added to the discussion that ELO could be more pressure though, as he feels he has to win. It could be a two-edged sword. That is definitely correct, because like it matters a little bit what kind of person you are, and I think a little bit of arrogance could come in handy in that situation right there. But if you are like have the feeling you have to perform, that is always something that gets into your head. Stargard, did you load the game already?
Yes, I'm on 2 seconds.
Perfect. Then we are ready to discuss in the Dark Age the map, and we go in 3, 2, 1, and go. So, take it over. Please talk us through the map, dear Mr. Stargard.
Let me take a look at the map first. Alright, so Bavarian has some pretty nice woodlines there around his base. The gold's also pretty wallable. For Golden Pit, this is definitely a nice wall for Bavarian. Also, Dafo is a bit more open on the front, but on the side he's also pretty wallable. That's a nice map for both of the players.
I think though... I'm sorry, let us just pause a second, please.
Sure.
I'm at 1 minute and 12. I have to slow down the scrolling speed.
Also, you should switch the overlay.
Upsala. Oh man. I'm sorry. I would just show you the map again. I'm sorry. I put it to like 35%.
Podcast.
Okay. I'm at 1 minute 12. Yeah, podcast, exactly. So, okay. We have here the woodlines that Starker talked about and from Barbarian, and here we have the slightly more open front from Dafo and the woodlines around it. Please continue. I'm at 135 now.
Alright. The relics are more in Bavarian's favor, I think. But it's also kind of fair, and besides that, pretty standard resources, nothing special here, like the maps before, classic Golden Pit.
Yeah, I think so too. Both have at least one resource that is really forward and exposed. I think Golden Pit, in opposite to Gold Rush these days, is still fairly well wallable. And what you want is to get those relics as a late game insurance if you should ever lose of control of the pit. So those relics are something to get actually to take into account, like to not be dismissed because you think, well, there's so much gold on the map, I don't have to take care of the relics. No, the gold is so much in one space that you really should take care of the relics. Well, let's talk about the civilizations. Ethiopians against Britons. Talk us through your thoughts, Stargard.
Both some pretty strong archery civilizations, so I hope to see some fuel aggression here and not just fast castling and then get a castle up as you might do it some other times. Dafo might go again for his double archery range and fuel age, and the Ethiopian might even have an advantage there because of the civilization bonus, extra resources as soon as he advanced.
Yeah. So the Britons definitely being strong when it comes to booming because they have those cheaper town centers, and also having the reputation, and rightfully so, as being nearly unpushable once they get really to the composition and having the death ball. And as against the Britons, you never really want to engage the death ball. You want to go around and pressure somewhere else. So this is interesting because Ethiopians, they have really good siege there, with having access to basically the full tech tree right there, and especially having also the torsion engines. Unfortunately, those siege onagers don't have any real effect on the Britons, because the Britons actually have the advantage of having so much range that the siege onagers don't come into effect. But the biggest enemy of the Britons, being the siege ram, is really good. And the Ethiopians have a raiding unit that sometimes is a little bit undervalued, as the Shoto warrior is something that is just so good at raiding and can devastate your whole ego at home, while in the same time you as a Briton sit in the middle and try to defend against the Ethiopians right there. So this is a really interesting matchup right there. The Ethiopians having the bonus with the 100 food, 100 gold as they go up. So being a little bit more smooth and having the possibility to go maybe just a little bit earlier up if they want to just have that edge. And especially having the faster firing archers, I would say they have a little bit the edge in feudal age over the Britons, while as the Britons start to really shine in castle age, although they have the 20% faster production in the archery ranges as a bonus as well. I shall look at a scout now. So yeah, the scout just takes the sheep, he takes a hit, and he tries to lame the sheep. He wants to win. Oh, he is staying close to the sheep. He doesn't fool around. And this Bavarian, look at the idle time he causes. Look at the idle time he causes. This is so good. Oh, and he kills the sheep. This is allowed, by the way. This is a certain skill that, like, it can make the difference of just some points. So this killing of the sheep is really... Woof, that's rough. That's rough. And that is something like... Tournaments are also won with psychology warfare. So this is something to get into your opponent's head, where you think like, what the hell just freaking happened? Like, is he serious? And yeah, exactly. Like Dafo pointing out, that's a Briton's sheep. It is allowed for Tini. It is allowed to lame. It's just not allowed to lame boars with scouts. And a Briton's sheep, to lame a Briton's sheep is really hard, because this is one of the most effective food income resources that Britons really have. And that really hurts. So the barracks coming up for BavarianBarbarian here.
Yeah, for
and
Dafo as well. He already is building militia, so we see actually a Briton rush here.
We see, I think we see men-at-arms into archers, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
I say we say men-at-arms into archers, but you want to have the men-at-arms into the enemy's face already when they become men-at-arms. And both going up with 22 villagers there. And it looks actually fairly decent. BavarianBarbarian deciding against the men-at-arms and going immediately for 2 archery ranges. Being just open a little bit in the front there with the stone. 2 archery ranges against men-at-arms and the wall, where Dafo, he has actually the wood to go for 2 archery ranges, just not having the control right there in this moment. So that's a pity, and this timing is really crucial. The 3 men-at-arms though are through, and they are attacking now the first villager, while the 2 archery ranges are up, and the one side of the archery ranges got quick walled, and quick walling also the gold. But still, the men-at-arms have the effect, because the gold is having to be walled and killing maybe... Oh no, that was too greedy. Like, losing the men-at-arms like this is exactly what your opponent wants. And you also want to stay like at the goal to actually deny what the enemy wants to go for, which is archers, and he needs like a lot of villagers on gold there. So I don't know whether going for berries is the right move there. Also losing the second man-at-arms, losing the third man-at-arms. So this man-at-arms doesn't know anything, and what this is devastating. Also having the 2 archers out, so this man-at-arms pushes over, but on the other side, he got up with the 2 archery ranges being housed at the moment, getting the house up, having enough also to get the what is it called, the blacksmith up, and also having the villager production. So Dafo being at 27 villagers, whereas BavarianBarbarian probably got interrupted with microing here in his base, busy with not losing too much, having 3 on stone, but also being a little bit behind with the villager count here. Having already 9 on gold as Dafo with 10 on wood means that he can go already for the full archer production, whereas his enemy is actually having just 2 on gold and 11 on wood, which 11 on wood is fine, but 2 on gold is really underwhelming, where you should really send some people to gold to actually guarantee full archer production, especially against the Britons, because this is a numbers game. So BavarianBarbarian being there at the gold and now getting released by the Dafo archers. So Dafo has the numbers, he has the composition here, and he also has the blacksmith and even getting the defense upgrade up here first for his skirmishers, whereas BavarianBarbarian decides to go around and try to find a way through those palisade walls to just find his way in, or also to have the better position on top of the hill against the numbers that he just saw, having already 10 archers up and having now 5 on gold, which is still not enough for constant production. So he has to mix in some skirms, which is probably not the worst choice that he has to go for.
Right, so now both of them have the same amount of units, both of them attacking the opposite side of the map, going for the attack. Dafo still has the scout, Bavarian lost one of his.
And, oh, at the golden Dafo, look at the golden Dafo.
One villager.
2 villagers already, 2 villagers.
Oh, 2 already. Oh yeah, it's the other one.
And he is denying completely this gold. It was also risky to take this gold, like, and really intelligent map play here from BavarianBarbarian. Also, he walled in a good way to secure his gold. I don't like the walling when it comes to his wood, and I probably would have decided for another wood line, so he doesn't have safe wood to actually take, but running now into the full skirmisher army, losing those archers is super crucial. You cannot afford to lose 3 archers like this. And at home, he has some army hidden inside, but those lost numbers are really crucial. And we have 2 villagers coming in front there from BavarianBarbarian, having double the military, so his KD is awesome. He has a 13-to-1 kill-death ratio. This is just insane. BavarianBarbarian taking over the rain here and being in a very comfortable spot, sitting there at the gold. And also, does he pay attention now? Oh, Dafo maybe should have gone a little bit closer before he attacked those. Then he could have taken out 2 or 3 archers. But like this, he just alarmed him and nothing happened. And those 2 villagers, what are they doing? What are they up for? Dafo not even being close to any castle age. But so is BavarianBarbarian. Having just 6 on gold, but having already enough for a castle with a stone. So he actually should really focus on getting his food eco up.
There goes the tower up.
There is a tower.
Woodline protection. It is a tower indeed.
There is a tower.
23 archers and skirmishers there. The tower is going up. The units can actually break through the palisade wall there, and then they have control over the woodline. It's not looking too good for Dafo.
No, that is not looking too good for Dafo, and this tower is very intelligently placed because it is threatening the gold, it is threatening the wood, and it grants you an entrance into the middle, and you cannot fight. Like, as a Briton, you should have 20% superior numbers because your archery ranges work 20% faster, but if you have less numbers, the Ethiopians will just shred you with those 20% off. And BavarianBarbarian knows it, analyzing the game correctly here, and just going for the right play, going into the eco, threatening the Briton really heavily, and this already looks very, very dire for Dafo. So he has been doing great, especially during the first game, And this game, Bavarian Barbarian, getting into the groove here and knowing just exactly what to do, denying woodline for woodline, and just getting more and more ground into the base here, not letting it even come to the castle age. This is devastating. We got, if I see it correctly, that's 17. No, it can't be. No, it's 37. 37 villages. Oh my god, I was just thinking this is the villager count was was actually even, but we had got 22 to 0 military, and Dafo just fell. This is devastatingly over. Bavarian Barbarian not so far from actually getting to castle age, already having the stone for a castle, so this is probably the right call here. And Dafo being miles away from castle age, so solid play there. And I think the tower and just 2 or 3 engages in feudal age really made the big difference there. GG, well played to both contenders. Thank you very much. And Bavarian Barbarian in the end reigns supreme. Oh yeah. So what do you think? What were the main issues here for Dafo? Why he ended up in the place he ended up?
I think the first battle probably he had the superior amount of units, slightly, but he had like 1 or 2 units more. But the skirmisher trap by Bavarian was probably the GG.
Yeah,
He lost
and
12 or more units for nothing, didn't get more than 1 kill, and just got pushed back so hard.
Yeah, the KD is really what is the striking point here, 41 to 6. And I think what it is also is like as a Briton, like you usually say you need 8 on gold for a 2 archer range production. And as a Briton, you need like 1 more. You need 9 because you produce just faster if you want to go complete archer. And in between, to mix in some skirmishes was correct. And I also think to understand, you want to defend your gold here because your gold in the front that you're taking is really exposed. I think it would have been better to just take the second gold immediately because that was the point. The archers go to the gold, kill 2 villagers, throw him off, he has to regroup, and in the same moment, his group runs into another group of already produced skirmishers and archers. And Ottoman Papyrus, I have, like, my knowledge is based on the Survivalist AoE website where he is putting you like the amount of villagers, like the amount of gold that a villager produces per minute, and by that also the archer production time, so how much the archer production consumes out of 1 archer range. I think 7 could be like barely enough. It is like super effective, but what I know is I think 8 is the safer call right there. And this is honestly, like, this one situation basically decided the game because this game was just so similar. And Bavarian Barbarian is a player that obviously knows really how to push an advantage right there. So, solid stuff. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Let's take a look at the statistics. We got this number that decided the game here. 41 to 6. GG at Bavarian Barbarian for this great performance. Increasing performance over the game. GG to Dafo for especially the first game. Setting Bavarian Barbarian under heavy pressure and showing that 1200 against 1400 is not an auto loss, but actually is possible, and playing out of his mind considering the ELO difference right there. So very well played, Dafo, and showcasing that his stream is something that you guys should check out because he is somewhere to actually really perform and to give his best right there. Economy-wise, it's actually not that different. I think Bavarian Barbarian having a really good eco balance. I think therefore maybe having a little bit much gold in the end, but still fine stuff there. Technology-wise, they were actually quite similar, and villager-wise as well. Yeah, so I think this fight here in Feudal Age was not really decided, as you can see. So now just the drop down, and from there on, it was got his army back a little bit, but it was always double the army, at least from Bavarian. Great. Folks, this is the first game.